G'day guys, welcome back to another video. So I saw an interesting question posted the other day. It was basically about how Rubik's Cube competitions work, and if there was another way, maybe even a better way, by having other formats. What I mean by formats is the way that every attempt is structured. With 3x3, well actually, most of the events, it's an average of 5, you get 15 seconds inspection, you can't look at it before, all that sort of stuff, right? And I'm not saying we need to change that. However, it would be interesting to see maybe some side events that were the exact same cube, except they were a different format. So I'm gonna go over 3, and I want you to let me know what you think of these. Alright, so I've got 3 interesting ideas. The first one is a twist on what we kind of do already. Obviously, what we do right now is we have an average of 5, we take the best and the worst out, and that's the average. And that's obviously 5 different scrambles. What if we had the one scramble that you got to do 5 times? So inspection would be a little bit different. You don't get any inspection, and as soon as you lift the cover, you have to start. Obviously, you saw the cube first, and some people might even be strategic to look at the cube a little bit on the first solve, and then the second solve, maybe use what you know from the first solve. So the second solve, you get the exact same scramble, third solve, and all 5, and an average of your best, or maybe just the best of those 5, because you would think that you'd get better over time and the last solve would be the best. An average wouldn't really make sense here. A thing to note is in competition, some people have practice cubes while they're waiting for their next cube to come. They start practicing a bit on a different cube just to warm up. You wouldn't be able to do this here because you might practice that exact solve, and that kind of would defeat the purpose of having the 5. Second idea, how about it's FMC, but speed FMC. So what I mean by this, we still solve a normal 3x3 in a time, and it's the best time. However, it's like FMC, you get an hour to look at the cube, mix it up, do whatever you want, and find the fewest moves, right? What if you got an hour to look at the cube, study, do all that, except instead of finding the least amount of moves, you find the optimal solution. So you have an hour to look at it, and then only at the end would you actually have your official attempt to get your time. Instead of having 15 seconds inspection, this is essentially getting an hour inspection. Maybe not an hour because that would take way too long, and you probably wouldn't find anything more optimal after even half an hour, I don't know. But say 10 minutes, maybe you get 10 minutes of inspection, you get to really study it, and then you get 1 attempt. It would be a lot of pressure because you've spent 10 minutes looking at the one cube. Also, you're not allowed to turn it or anything like that, but you spent 10 minutes and then you got to solve it. I feel like for newbies who don't really look that far into inspection and don't really know how to plan first pair, this wouldn't be a great event. But for really high level cubers who can see X crosses and lots of different free pairs all in inspection, I think this would really benefit them, and it would be interesting to see how down people could get it. And finally, I saw this the other day. It was an idea which was essentially what I just said, but instead of getting 15 seconds inspection, you don't get 10 minutes, you don't get an hour, you get a whole week. So what this is, a competition's announced, and then a week before the competition starts, say the competition's on a Saturday, that Saturday beforehand, you get the scramble. So this means that people don't just use their brain, they can also use computers and different algorithms to actually find the optimal solution if they really want to. You obviously can just find it out yourself. The idea of this would be more, use what you have as a resource. It's essentially cheating, but you're allowed to cheat. You're allowed to use whatever you want. You can down solve it, you can find the optimal solution, the 20 move solves, whatever, but that might not actually be the best solve because you want to use the finger tricks, you want to find something that's really good to turn really fast. And at the end of the day, some people know a lot about cubes and they have a lot of stuff at their disposal that could easily get them to down solve a cube to, 1 second or even faster, I don't know. I feel like some really top solvers wouldn't benefit from this that much because they usually focus on solving in competition instead of finding optimal solutions later on. But a lot of people do this who aren't necessarily that fast. They will find optimal solutions over time. Top solvers could also ask other people, and that's where it gets a bit tricky because you could clearly have just like a full Discord server that everyone talks about the same scramble and then everyone does the exact same thing. So it'd be interesting to see if maybe one person doesn't listen to everyone else, does their own thing, and then gets way leagues above everyone else and does a completely different solve. I think it'd be really interesting to see what people would come up with. And let me know if you guys have any more ideas because I think this kind of has some merit. The 5 solve average has been going around for, 20 years now. It's great and it works, but I just think it would be a side thing to sort of, spice up the competition a little bit and give some people a bit more of an opportunity and interest in what they're doing. But anyway, thanks for watching and I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.